Today I'm coming here to present, Evangelion, and talk about depression and my personal experiences with it. So to continue on, uh, okay, slide. So what is Neon Genesis Evangelion? I'm pretty sure everyone here except one person knows what Neon Genesis Evangelion is. And to that one person who I will not name, Neon Genesis Evangelion is a Japanese cartoon, also known as an anime, where there's these kids who play with robots and you think it's going to be about like a big giant robot battle, but it ends up being more about what am I doing with my life, and you start questioning yourself a little more than you should. And it goes into a weird spiral of, I like it, but it also makes me sad, but I like it because it makes me happy. To continue on, let's see, there's a chat. Oh, no. The movies were really good. I haven't watched any movies, so please, no spoilers. So let's talk about depression. It affects the way you feel, think, and behave. It's different for everybody, but there are some similarities. Like maybe one day you're happy and cheery and you want to, I don't know, go outside and see the sun, and but suddenly you're just like, ah, I don't want to anymore. I feel horrible. I feel like garbage. Someone throw me out. I don't really want to exist in this planet. And here we have this character to represent how you feel sometimes. You just want to stay solitude. You want to feel like there's nothing. You feel like there's nothing. You're alone. And you get into your own head like, maybe I'm not ready for something. Okay. Maybe you want to do something but you end up not being able to. uh Again, this is different for everybody. In my personal experience, it was more of a I'm just not worth it kind of feel. Continuing is, so let's introduce the main character of Evangelion. His name is Shinji Ikari. He's 13 years old. He was abandoned from his father, uh, for reasons that I'll get into later. Shinji, he has a great fear of emotional pain, being hated and left behind. And what is emotional pain? So, emotional pain comes in many forms. Maybe you experience someone dying and that's been with you. It's been there. You feel sad thinking about it. Maybe you think that talking with this certain person will make you feel worse than you already are. Um, it comes in a lot of different ways and situations. Being hated, I'm pretty sure we all don't want to be hated by people because we want to show the good side of us. So we always try to push ourselves to be better, to try and to do better, and it could lead into like a endless whole loophole of maybe I should do this, but I shouldn't do this, but I should do this, but I shouldn't do this because I might not, because I might be hated by this person, so I'll do this instead. And it ends up being a cycle that you can't really escape by yourself. Being left behind, none of us like that. You have some friends and they go for a vacation without you. You feel kind of left out, and you you wanted to go there but you weren't able to because of reasons, or maybe they just didn't invite you. It's a horrible feeling. um it has happened to me for reasons. uh and Shinji always blames himself for any wrongdoing that he does. For example, in the anime, he is the pilot of this giant mech, and he's supposed to be operating it whenever there's a danger. And then when he sometimes says no, he doesn't want to. He goes into this sort of feel of, well, darn it, I'm useless because I wasn't able to write the one thing I'm supposed to do. This is all my fault. I hate myself. I hate everything about myself. I should be better. I should be doing better. And I'm pretty sure everyone has been there before, to a point where any small failure could seem like the biggest mistake. It could seem life ending at some points. Maybe you burn some pasta and you're like, ah, damn it, I burned the pasta. It could have gone on fire. Everything could have burned down. It goes into you, your head makes you think something bad has been significantly worse. For Shinji, this is a different situation because his kind of did lead into pretty bad things. But for us, doing something simple as maybe forgetting to defrost your chicken, defrost your meat, defrost pasta maybe. You're mad, your parents get mad at you and you're like, oh, I could have done better. So I'm gonna blame myself for my inability to act on something. Which brings me to the hedgehog dilemma. This in the anime, it's an anime is referred to when a person can't really accept others. They try to comfort others, but they end up hurting them more than they anything else. So for example, let's say I decide to be friends with Alfredo. I decide to be friends with you, but then I sort of feel like maybe I'm hurting you in a way that I shouldn't be. So I end up just enclosing myself more because I feel like me talking to you has personally made you feel worse, or maybe you aren't really that happy to see me every time, and it just makes you feel like you shouldn't really talk to others, and you just start like making yourself go into a ball. You don't want to exit that ball because you feel safe there, but you also want to exit it, but end up hurting others while trying to help yourself. So now we have Asuka Soryu. Asuka, she's German, first of all, so that's pretty cool. She's also 13. Her personality is one of the more strong ones. She's always like looking, well, trying to be the best she could be. She won't accept failure, essentially. She's very stubborn of a girl. She rarely opens up, but all of that, all of that acts, you can say, is just to protect an insecure girl that is on the inside. Asuka went through many bad things. Her mother died when she was young, and I won't go too much into detail, but her mother committed suicide, and Asuka was there to witness it. And she essentially wanted to be someone who didn't depend on adults. She wanted to be recognized as an adult. So she put up this tough act while having to deal with her mother's suicide, other adults trying to comfort her, but just end up hurting her. She just wanted to feel like she had control of something in her life. So, let's talk about anxiety, which if I'm pretty sure everyone here has felt anxious before, whether it be due because you forgot a project and you're doing it last minute, or maybe you just have this really big exam coming up and you're just feeling a little stressed out. But anxiety can be something big. Um, Anxiety can, well, like if you're anxious all the time, it can cause panic attacks. I've had panic attacks before. They're not fun. Like for me, for example, every time I'd get a panic attack, I would sort of feel as if the world around me was collapsing in itself. It would feel as if I'm alone, nothing else matters, and my entire world just collapse. It's non-existent. Um, you like for example, I was in school one day, I got a panic attack, and I just shut down completely. I couldn't speak, I couldn't move. I felt like there was nothing for me to do, and I just stood there silently waiting for something bad to happen. Not because anything bad was happening, but just because that's how I felt at that point in time. School, well, I'll get into school later, but anxiety will make you feel like you can never fully rest. When me dealing with anxiety meant I barely got any sleep. I would have trouble sleeping. Um, There's also times when I just couldn't focus on school, on other people. Uh, like I would try, but I end up trying failing and just feeling like I hurt someone instead of helping them. So, and what can cause anxiety? There's a lot of things that can cause it. For example, any recent deaths, like maybe a loved one or a pet or anything like that can cause anxiety because you're feeling like you maybe messed up and like you wanted to say something but you aren't able to, and that can cause like a lot of stress and anxiety on someone. School is also a big factor. All of us are students and we all have to deal with work and other situations that involve school. So for example, how did everyone transfer from being always going to school, having this big place where you see your friends and you can at least like feel like you're in a school, and suddenly have to transfer into online meetings over the internet? You don't have anyone to really talk to. You can never just go up to someone and be like, hey, how you doing? Because you're just constantly in this small space where you just no longer feel like you're interacting with everyone. um, and all the work that has been piling up. I'm pretty sure a lot of you here have either take dual credit or maybe are in advanced courses, and you just have a lot of work piling up and piling up and piling up. And you just feel like you don't have time or the motivation to do so. This can lead into a lot of stress, and which can eventually lead to more anxiety, which can, if you don't do anything about it, can eventually lead to just trying to feel feeling horrible, getting feeling restless, as if you can't sleep because you know you have multiple assignments to do, but you aren't able to do them. Maybe because you either don't have time, you're working on other assignments, or just full on don't have the motivation to do so. Uh, we can also talk about Misato. Misato is a pretty young female. She's 29. She's the mentor for Shinji and Asuka. So she being the mentor of these two children, she tries to be this tough woman, someone who looks cool, who's always has her act together, and wants to be strong for these two children. When she was 14, her father had sacrificed himself to save her from this huge impact known as the second impact. Um, the second impact was essentially just a really big explosion. I don't know how to put it in ways so I don't spoil it, but just think that a lot of people died and now there's a huge hole in the world. Um, while Misato seems really courageous and like strong at first, she eventually opens up to Shinji, letting him know that, hey, I feel alone, and having you in my life has helped that situation get better. I don't want to lose you, because a lot of the time Shinji ends up running away because he's scared. He's afraid of having to deal with all these problems and him not being able to do much. So he runs away. Misato always tries to find him, and she lets him know, hey, I want to be there for you and I want to try to help you. I know how you feel and I want us to get better for each other. She's really scared of losing the people that she loves. So I'm pretty sure we all have someone we can relate to with Misato. Either someone being like a teacher or a really good friend, maybe your parents, an aunt or an uncle, or a family member. You can just go up to them and be like, "Hey, I'm not feeling so well," or like you can confidently talk to them about your issues. Maybe not all the time, maybe not about every small issue you have, but you have that motivation to do so. um but even if you don't really have the motivation to go ahead and talk to someone older or even a friend, just know there is always someone who is willing to help, even if you think there's not. Then we have Gendo Ikari, the father of Shinji, the one who abandoned him. But he did it for his own selfish reasons. You can say his wife Yui had died due to a test with one of the giant mechs, robots, whatever you like to call them. I'll call them Evas from now on. The Eva units. It went wrong, and it ended up killing her. Gendo is this really smart commander. As you can see from the picture, he's serious. He's always in this like formidable tone. Like I want to finish something with this, and he's always on top of things. But he's one of the most messed up characters, you can say, because in the end, he admits that he did wrong. He admits that abandoning Shinji was just for a selfish reason, because he just didn't think he could show love to anyone else. He was scared of ever having to go through a situation that involves loving someone. And with a child, you normally try to show them love, you try to show them appreciation, but Gendo never really understood how or why they could do this. So when his wife died, he ended up just abandoning Shinji to work on a bigger project that involved bringing his wife back to life. And I won't get back into the details into that because it's big spoilers and I don't want to spoil anything. I know at least someone here knows the ending, so I'll just say at the very end, when he talks to that person, he says, "I realized my mistakes. I only did it for selfish reasons, and I understand why you're not accepting of me anymore." He broke the promise he made to his wife, essentially, to make the world a better place for Shinji. Uh, what else do I have? Oh yeah, who to talk to. So I'll go into my own personal experience here. When I suffer from depression and anxiety, I didn't know about it. I personally never knew about it. It was more into I got into a severe point that I started, realizing it. So I mean, when I had it, it was doing like 2 years ago, technically, and it was a really tough time for me because I started not trusting anyone. I started just isolating myself, and it's something I thought it was normal at that point. Like, oh, I'm just feeling sad. It'll go away soon, or I'm just feeling this because of this. It'll go away soon. I pretty much let it get out of control without ever telling anyone. I wouldn't really talk about myself to anyone. My family didn't know. My friends barely knew about it. And I didn't have any like adult I would talk to because our school doesn't have anyone for some reason. Uh, and I always thought that therapists were like a waste of time because all you do is talk, 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 and you never get anything back. Uh, so So with the situation of just having someone to talk to is always good. No matter how small you think your problem is, you should try to talk with someone about it, whether it be like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm gonna fail this test, or maybe something more serious like, hey, I'm feeling sad because I just haven't been able to live with myself recently. I keep thinking I'm messing up on things and I want to try doing better for myself. So you end up you want to try talking with at least someone you trust, whether it's even if it's like opening up a tiny bit about a certain issue. It can eventually help you just deal with it better because you're not keeping it all to yourself, just accumulating into like a giant thunderstorm of emotions. uh I also have the suicide prevention hotline because depression can lead into suicidal thoughts and it can just be bad for people. For I did call the number. You should call them if you ever have those kind of thoughts, even if it's for like something small, even if you think that it's not worth your time or it's not worth their time. It really is. They're there for that reason. They want to make you feel better to get the right help. S and just having those thoughts in general is never really a good way of feeling. If you can, I really do recommend just calling up the number. If you don't get an answer, just keep trying to call. I know it might not seem like it's worth, but it'll really be worth in the end. Your life really matters, and I'm sure a lot of people want you to stay alive for the longest time possible. And therapists, I said I thought they were useless, but now I have a therapist I constantly talk to every other week. I have appointments, and it just helps me get out any issues I have with myself or my life. And it does help. If anyone here has a therapist, you know it probably helps a lot. And this is where I want to ask, like, do you guys have any questions about like what does depression exactly do to you, or maybe if you're not sure what you should do about something or situation, do y'all have any questions to say? uh, I could also just talk about Evangelion, like like Evangelion, the show itself it's in Netflix currently, which is on Netflix. I really recommend that you watch it. um Evangelion itself just pretty good, a really good anime that it sort of tricks you in the beginning by making you think it's about giant robots, but it's really not. It's more about how emotions can build up to a certain point and how you can try to help deal with them. For example, Shinji at the very beginning, which we talked about, he ends up accepting the fact that he wants to be better, he wants to be happier, so he tries to do more things to make himself happy. And at the end, he accepts that maybe he's not always completely perfect, but he understands that he should try to be better for himself. Asuka is Asuka, and she also accepts that while she thinks she's this really tough person, no, while she thinks she's really this tough person, she also wants to have someone to talk with, and she ends up being with Shinji in the end, huh? So the end of Evangelion, there's this song about tumbling down, and you start going like, "Oh, it all keeps tumbling down," and it makes you think about how your own life could be gone in an instant to the ground. It all comes. Yes, thank you, Aisha. I recommend listening to this song. It's called the Come Sushi or something. Aisha, could you please write it out on the chat so other people can hear it? All the three people that are here, I think. Yes, it's Come Sushi Todd. What else? What else? Oh yes. Let me talk about the end of Evangelion. There's two different endings that I know of. One being the Netflix show, one being the Netflix show where it ends with Shinji in this room with everyone else who he knows talking to him. He talks about his feelings, how he feels, and it's really good to talk about it overall. You want to tell other people, hey, I'm feeling sad and this is why. Or maybe you just want to tell them, hey, I'm angry and sad and mad and I feel like I want to just end it all. You should tell someone about it. They all talk to him, they all comfort him, and Shinji comes to accept that, yes, I can be happy. And he ends up just feeling better overall. There's also the other ending called the instrumentality, the human instrumentality project, where everyone turns into Fanta juice. And this phantom juice brings them up to a giant womb, to say, and they feel safe. Yum. Trust me, I don't think you ever want to drink that. And it brings them to this giant womb of this giant to this giant woman, also known as the one of the angels. Look, guys, you don't drink human souls. Like, you don't go up to someone, put a straw, be like, what is that? Anxiety? That little bit of depression I taste? That's what I like to taste. The jet of humanity. No, you don't go up to people and say that. You don't go up to people like that. Only vampires do that. And are you a vampire? I very much doubt it. But if you are, it's like, what kind of blood do you drink? Like A plus, B plus? Is there different like vitamins and different kinds of blood? Do you go to your local supermarket and like, hey, can I have O negative for today? And is O just like the rarest one and does it cost the most? Or do you get like AB because that's like has everything except for O? Anyways, Evangelion, big woman, giant womb. Everyone goes in there and they're like, oh, I feel happy. I no longer have worries. I no longer have to make choices about my life. Everything I want is here. And essentially, the end is just Shinji and Asuka not accepting this reality, understanding that the world is not perfect, but we should always try to do better for ourselves. And they both come out alive together, manifested in this world of essentially ruin and non-existence. And well, this giant womb, when you think of somewhere safe and protected, a lot of people, well, some people would say maybe inside of a woman's womb, because that's where you were born, that's where you're formed. You don't have to make any choices, you don't have to make any deals, you don't have to worry about anything. You are just living life, essentially. And when people turn to Fanta, their souls come into this resting place, an essential grave, to say, where they get to rest happily in heaven. And the ending of the movie is sort of odd to talk about because, like, I don't know how to put it, but essentially things someone is having a mental breakdown and they're probably drinking a lot of juice with sugar and their mind is constantly exploding and your mind will constantly be exploding with different colors, images. You won't have any idea what's going on for like a good 30 minutes until you suddenly realize, oh, well, that happened. It's like, how to put it, it's like if you were suddenly traveling at the speed of light into a wall and you hit it, but you go through it because you're going so fast and you don't feel anything. But then there's another 50 walls in your way, so you hit all of them, and eventually at the very last one, you hit it, and your brain just goes, "What just happened?" And you just end up realizing, well, all of this happened because of this, and you can connect the show to many different points. Essentially, Shinji not being able to operate the machines, while Asuka being someone who wants to be perfect and be able to do everything. Their emotions clash. Um, Gendo being this really strong kind of figure, but always trying to suppress everybody with hiding secrets by doing things like negotiations with women, to be exact. And then you have Misato, who just wants to be loved and wants to show love to Shinji. And there's also this obscure kind of character called Rei, who just don't really want to talk about because she's a character who essentially is the biggest plot. Rei Asuma, Rei Asuma, Rei is this girl who isn't a girl, but is a wife of Gendo, but isn't really because she's a girl, but she's also this angel kind of being, but isn't really because she's this girl who is made with his wife. So I essentially think it's a lot of soup mixed together and it comes out good. It's soup. Like you add a little bit of tomato and a little bit of pasta, and you're like, oh, la mole, this is Italiano perfectionismo. And you get Ray pretty much essentially. And at the very end, you're like, this Ray girl is like, oh, I want to make the world great again. And she turns into this big, like bigger than the Earth woman. And she just sort of sucks in everybody. And it's like, they have clones of themselves. She clones herself billions of times. And it's to satisfy everybody's fantasy. I'll bring up some examples. I take it back. I won't bring up any examples. I'll bring up other examples. For example, if I wanted to be, I don't know, a professional musician, Ray would clone herself and give me that ability to become a professional musician. I would have money. I would have everything. I would have everything I wanted. And I would accept that, yes, this is perfect. This is my world. And I would turn into Fanta and get slurped up to heaven. This is not God we're talking about. This is angels we're talking about, which are essentially aliens, if you like to think about it like that. And at the very end, Earth is no more. We are happy. Well, some of us are happy. Most of them are happy, except for like two people. Shinji and Asuka, they're like, oh, what do we do now? I just choked you. I'm sorry about it, but I just choked you. But like, I kind of wanted to because you've been mean to me this entire time. Oh, but I'm sorry. This is why I don't want you to choke me anymore because I accept that I've been mean to you. So let's do better. And that's Evangelion. Evangelion is a roller coaster of emotions, feeling lost but feeling accepted at the same time. Like you can really interact with the characters, even though they don't really do much a lot of the time, especially in the Netflix show when there's like 30 seconds of pure silence. Just pure on silence. Like if I were to sit here for 30 seconds and just say, it's not off. That's just how the show is. It literally goes from, oh, I'm having a really sentimental moment, pure silence, 30 seconds. All you hear is crickets or birds or elevator music for 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds, you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel the emotion that you can feel the tension that is in there because you can connect with the characters. You can understand how they feel. This is why Evangelion is one of the best animes, if not the mother of all animes that is currently out there, because it just deals with a lot. It has a lot of good sentimental meaning. And if you haven't watched it, you too, you can definitely watch it. You should definitely watch it. It's not long either. 12 episodes, 13, 20 minutes each. You can watch it in one day. 24, good enough. I have discouraged you. No, remember the Fanta. Don't forget about the Fanta. And the choking. I'm choking. Sorry about that. The Fanta isn't bad. You can just, that's only in the movie. The Fanta is only on the movie. You don't have to watch the movie. Just watch the show. I have a big criticism for Netflix Evangelion. That's the fact that they don't have Fly Me to the Moon at the very end. That's the only bad part about it. Everything else is great. But the Phantom joke. Yes, they are indeed. Thank you for correcting me, Aisha. Yes, me too. Let's see. What else can I talk about? Well, depression. Me with depression. Horrible, especially during quarantine. That was one of the worst like months of my life because I had no one to talk to. I just ended up being mean to everybody because I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I completely isolated myself. I told the school about it. I told college at least. I told college and Harmony about it. College did something. Harmony, y'all didn't do anything. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. Y'all didn't help me at all. And I told you again this year. The school year, I told y'all again. You haven't done anything for me. Colin, though, good stuff. If you are in Colin, just give them a call and be like, "Hey, do you have the student council thing?" And talk with them because they can help. They can definitely help. Yes, they do have good counseling. And like, do any of y'all have any questions for me, or like, how are y'all? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you feeling Are you feeling not motivated to do anything and being more forced of doing something? Like attending this meeting. Do you feel forced to attend this meeting? Or are you doing this because you wanted to? Stuff like that. Nothing. You're like an orange puddle right now. What about you? Yeah, I don't feel like an orange puddle. I don't know what you're talking about. Like normally I feel like maybe like a vanilla puddle, not an orange, but like vanilla. Because it's just plain nothing. And that's how I feel most of the time. Just plain nothing. Plain up. And how are you? How are you? There we go. There's the question. How are you guys? Are you okay? Is school stressing you out? Because if so, like, I'm here. I have a number, Gmail, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, maybe instant messages, Discord, Twitch, not a YouTube. Just contact me there anyways. Use the number. What's my number? 469-261-0900. If you need someone to talk to, just message me. Let me know who you are though, because I won't answer otherwise. But if you're feeling like down, you can always talk to me. Because I'm here to try to help. I won't promise you I'll be the most of help, but I can definitely listen. And listening is always good for people. I have nothing to say. Anyways, thank you so much for coming here. I know it's only us four at the end, but like, thanks a lot. But yes, depression is not a fun thing. It's not something that everyone should have to deal with by themselves. There are people that are willing to talk with you or listen to you. I know all of you personally, and I'm willing to put myself out there just to help a little bit. And anyone else who is probably watching this in the future, probably, most likely not. But if you are, if you have someone, if you feel insecure, alone, if you feel insecure or alone, find someone to talk to. There's no person in this world who should be dealing with this all by themselves. No matter how strong you think you are, you can't deal with it by yourself. There's always other people to come and help you that are willing to come and help you. You aren't alone in this world. No matter how alone you feel, no matter what you're going through, always know that someone out there is constantly thinking about you, how you are. They want to talk with you. You just got to give them a chance. Anyways, thank you so much and enjoy your day.